What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cool pair of secret wood nunchucks. Let's get to it. Okay, so as it stands right now, these pieces are too long to use as nunchucks. As you can see here from the pieces I made before, the average length is between like 11.5 to 12 inches. These ones right now are 14.5 inches. But I'm gonna leave it like this because it's gonna give me some room to play with. So first I'm gonna mark out how far down I want to keep just the wood so that I can have a place to drill the holes at, and then I'm going to mark out where I'm going to start splintering the wood so that I can break them apart and then wrap them with tape so I can pour the epoxy. This is a collaboration with Linus over at Linus Nunchaku, so make sure you go check out his great nunchuck tutorials. After I marked out where I wanted to splinter the wood, I began drilling multiple randomly placed holes of various sizes all around the circumference of the wood. Then I clamped it in my vise and with a generous amount of force liberated the pieces from each other. I gave it a quick rough sanding and then used my Dremel to open up some of the holes that didn't splinter open. I laid out my pieces against a straight edge and positioned them so that they would be even when I taped them together. Once the areas were fully wrapped and sealed with plenty of packing tape, I cut open a hole where I will pour the epoxy with my X-Acto knife. I just recently got this gold mica powder and thought it would be great to use for this project. So with a healthy amount added to the epoxy, I stirred it up and then poured it into the mold. Then once the epoxy had cured 24 hours later, I enthusiastically peeled off the tape to reveal the fruits of my labor. Okay, so as you can see, the epoxy came out of the mold with a few more wrinkles than I would originally like to have, but I can work with it. So I'm kind of digging actually the lines and the different organic shapes that are coming from it being with the tape, because it can't get a solid mold. If you want something that's a little bit more clean than this, I wouldn't recommend tape. I would make a solid mold so that you can have nice clean solid lines. But I'm kind of digging this, and I think I'm going to run with this kind of organic shape. It kind of looks like gold that you would find like naturally in rocks, so I'm going to kind of play off that, and I'm going to just kind of run with that. So obviously going to make some more veins kind of coming up through the wood, paint those gold, make this a nice darker color, and just kind of run with that, kind of make it like the mother lode of wooden nunchucks, or secret wood nunchucks as it is. So I'm going to start with that. I'm going to take this to the belt sander, kind of take care of some of these high points. It's still solid, like this ain't going to break apart anytime soon or at all. So I'm going to take this to the belt sander, kind of clean it up a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of readjust it because some of the lining came up. It kind of came up a little bit misaligned from after the epoxy cured, so I'm going to trim this edge off and then trim it down here to the right length and then start shaping it. So after knocking down those high points, I marked and trimmed both pieces down to 12 inches. Then drilled my holes for where the paracord is going to be strung. I chiseled out a small amount of material between the two holes on the bottom so that the paracord will lay flush with the sides. Instead of rounded, I wanted these nunchucks to be octagonal, so I used my hand plane and a rasp to square up the sides. With my Dremel and a pointed diamond bit, I began carving the veins for what will become the gold veins in the sides of the wood later. I used the torch to bring out the grain and give that wood just a bit more extra character going into the next part of the build. I applied this weathered gray wood stain to give it more of a rock appearance and coated it with watered down black acrylic paint, then wiped that off to give it a more natural and weathered look. Using gold acrylic paint, I filled in the veins I carved earlier and then wiped that off with a cloth paper towel to reveal the pattern, which came out way better than I had hoped. After taking a second to be rather pleased with myself, I scuffed up the surface with some steel wool and then smoothed everything out with some 800 grit sandpaper. Once that was done, I applied 2 coats of spray-on lacquer and she's ready to be strung up with some good old sturdy paracord. To finish it up, I melted the ends of the paracord and fused them together, setting that bond with CA glue and securing both ends with hot glue. Now it's time to give this baby a whirl. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, I have another video where I go into more detail on how to make your own pair of basic nunchucks. And if you want to learn how to use those nunchucks like I did, go over to Linus's channel at Linus Nunchaku. He has a lot of great tutorials where you can learn how to spin and throw your chucks just like I did. Hit that like button down below and leave me a comment with what you thought of this project and any ideas that you might have for future projects. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram at nativesonwoodart. And if you want to help support me to make more awesome videos like this, go check out my Patreon page where you can join the likes of the super wonderful and talented Marianne Ward. Marianne, big shout out to Marianne for being my very first Patreon. Marianne, thank you so much. It means the world to me. And if you want to find more awesome makers and creators, I'll have a list of my friends right here on the screen, and I'll also have it in the description below. Thank you again so much for watching, and remember, if it's this project or anything else you want to do, make moves, not excuses.
and I'll see you in the next video.